Human Anatomy series, and today the topic of my discussion will be about the muscles of the tongue. They can be broadly broad categories, two categories, and extrinsic muscles. The muscles of the tongue, they can be broadly divided into two muscles and the extrinsic muscles. The way these two muscles, it is that they are both are four in number. So starting with the muscles, as we can see, the name itself does not have any other attachments with the bone outside. So students, the intrinsic muscles, they are present inside the tongue. In other words, they do not have any other attachment to the surrounding bones. They are just present within the tongue. So there are four intrinsic muscles of the tongue. The first being the superior longitudinal, the second the inferior longitudinal, third the transverse, and fourth the vertical. Students, the transverse muscle also has the horizontal. So the tongue, and they have the function of connecting the tongue to the surrounding bones. So students, the extrinsic muscles, they are lying outside the tongue, and these are the muscles which are connecting the tongue to the surrounding bones. That's why they have been given the name of extrinsic muscles. So students, there are four extrinsic muscles. The first extrinsic muscle, it is the hyoglossus. Next, the second extrinsic muscle, it is the stylo glosses. The third, it is the palatoglossus, and fourth is the genioglossus. As I have already said, the extrinsic muscle to connect the tongue to the surrounding bones. So stylo glosses. Moving on to the third extrinsic muscle, the palate, and having the muscle which connects the muscles. So students, moving on to the, let us have a diagrammatic representation, the schematic diagram in which I have shown. So this is the tongue and the superior. Now moving on to the next, that is the vertical. The vertical muscles, they are going to lie vertical, and the horizontal, which are also called the transverse muscles. Let's have a look at the extrinsic muscles. So extrinsic muscles, we need to know certain landmarks. So what are those landmarks? So the first muscles, what I have told, it is the hyoglossus, a muscle of the tongue which is going to connect the tongue to the hyoid bone. It is hyoglossus muscle. It is going to connect the to greater cornua of the hyoid bone. The hyoid bone, and the hyoid bone greater cornua, the origin of the insertion of the is going to begin from the greater cornua of the hyoid bone to the posterior and the lower aspect of the tongue. So the muscle beginning from the hyoid bone, the greater cornua of the hyoid bone to the posterior lower aspect of the tongue, it is called as the hyoglossus. So this was the first muscle. Moving on to the next, we have in the middle, in the mandible, we are going to have the symphysis mentai, and on the symphysis mentai, we are going to have the superior genial tubercles. So this is the symphysis mentai I have drawn, and these are the mental tubercles what I have drawn. So from the superior genial tubercles, the muscles which are going to originate and they are going to lie below the tongue. Their insertion is below the tongue. So this muscle, it is called as the genioglossus. So this is the genioglossus muscle which is going to lie deep to the hyoglossus muscle. So the genioglossus muscle is going to lie deep to the hyoglossus muscle. So this was the second extrinsic muscle. Moving on to the next muscle, that is the palatoglossus. So this is the diagram of the tongue. And from the palate portion, the muscle what is extending and it is attaching with the tongue laterally, it is called as the palatoglossus. So this is another extrinsic muscle which is connecting the tongue to the external other surrounding bones. And moving on to the next or the final muscle, that is the Stylo Glosses. So the Stylo Glosses muscle, what it is there in the skull, we are going to have the styloid processes. So students, this is the styloid process what I have drawn, and from the styloid process, the muscle which extends and runs down to the base of the tongue, it is called as the styloglossus muscle. So students, this was a short understanding or the short way as to how we can, I tried to make the concept of the intrinsic and the extrinsic muscles much simpler. So students, if you do like my video, don't forget to subscribe my channel and do press the bell icon so that you can be further updated about my newer videos. Thank you for watching.